My name's Olivia, and I'm looking after TopScope since 2015. And I have been graduated or finished my PhD degree in education from La Trobe University. Then specialized and quite engaged in understand students' developmental psychology that help them to build up the motivation to accelerate it into their higher levels of academics, as well as, if we help them to pursue their own goals and always encourage them to find their passion in learning, and really appreciate working with our parents and really appreciate working with our students. Great. Fantastic. Short, brief introduction for myself. Let me start today's seminar. It's regarding about this year, 2024, how we are going to preparing our students be ready for the private school scholarship examination, or as well as some students, they are preparing for public school, but extension program or SEAL program, we can say from that. So in TopScope, we have 4 different campuses located in Box Hill, Cheston, Glen Era, and Preston. You may find maybe closest one to you. Then maybe you can, if you're available, to call them or maybe send an email to them, feel free to do that. Great. So from years and years, we have been discussing with parents about what is your most interesting questions, what are the questions you want to asking about. So I've just quickly listed up several questions, 7 questions in total we want to discuss tonight. If our parents, you can see my screen from number 1 to number 7. If you can maybe just type it in which question you are willing to listening more from the chat, I'll appreciate. We try to collect some information and data from you as well. If you type into your chat, maybe if you're quite interested in number 2, examination structures, you just type into 2. All right. If you're quite engaged into want to understand more about our program and teaching goals, you just type it into 4. If we can type it now, this. If we can type it now, 1 or 2, okay. 2 and 3. Great. We do have parents coming outside as well. Welcome. 2 and 3. So 2 is the most engaging questions at this moment. How about the other parents? 2 and 6. Great. Individual support. 2, 3, 5. 1, 2. So number 2 is our most engaging questions. Okay. Some parents engage in all of them. Good on us. So which questions you are most interested in?
Okay, what questions we are, is it the selecting a school is for the scholarship?
Selecting school, yes, that's right. Exactly, that's right.
Okay.
Oh yes, definitely we start from number 1. Thank you, appreciate all of your contribution. Definitely, I think based on number 2 and understanding the schools around you will be very important to start with, isn't it? Excellent. Let's have a look at, from the beginning, selecting schools. So parents, if we are targeting for any schools around us, the first question will pop up is about, am I going to select private schools or public schools? Correct. Yes. All right. I think most of the decisions from parents ourselves, isn't it? So private or public, I think either way is all right. I don't mind private or public, but unless which kind of the categories you're caring about.
So in this public school, even the selective schools included?
Exactly, public schools, including our selective high schools. Yeah, that's right. So if you can go into a very good public school, for example, McKinnon, Mount Waverly, then get into the extension program, SEAL program, maybe they do have the best teacher, even better than some private schools. Who knows?
So extension programs are the enrichment programs?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Enrichment or extension, or we name as SEAL program.
Right.
These are options we can see. I think most of the parents, we are just quite curious about how we're going to select the schools around us, isn't it? So private or public, let's have a look at the first most important question about last year's VC results. I'm just quickly link here. Hopefully you can see from the first page is top 50 schools around us. Okay, let's have a look at how many schools are from private schools and how many schools are from public schools. From the beginning, Ballarat College, Bialik, Hunting Tower, Mount Scopus, up to Mac Robinson. Right, Mac Robinson is very well known by our parents. It's selective high school, but for girls only. Now let's go down, Melbourne High School, number 12. Selective high school, but for boys only. Now we go down a little bit, we can see Northall High School here. Northall High School is from selective high school, but co-ed, which located in Berwick. Now let's go down a little bit. Where is other selective high school? For example, John Monash Science School. So John Monash Science School is specialized in science and mathematics. So they are cooperated with Monash University, just next door to the Monash University in Clayton campus. So they are very strong in math and science. They do have lots of lectures from Monash University coming down to John Monash to teach them. That's why we do have lots of students want to get into John Monash. So how many selective high school we counted in? 4 up to here. Okay, let's coming down a little bit further. Susanna Corey High School, last selective high school from Werribee campus, co-ed. Number 5, isn't it? All right, McKinnon Secondary College. I think, some of our parents are from our Glen Era campus, McKinnon just next door, which means we're lucky enough. We're lucky enough to have McKinnon around us. Excellent.
So McKinnon is a boys or?
Co-ed, this is a public school, but you have to live inside of school zone.
That's in,
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. It's down to McKinnon. Yeah. Great. Then if we just go down a little bit further, so summarize together, our conclusion will be that if we compare with public school or private schools, basically on VC results, only one selection, academics only at this moment. Now we don't consider about sports or music, the other categories, but academic wise, same set private school perform very strong in academics. Why? Because we pay more fee, isn't it? They do have the best teachers. They do have good resources, unfortunately. But if you get into selective high school, this is another story. You can compete with the top private schools, as we can see that.
So all the top 10s are the private schools?
top 9.
Top 10 except macro.
Okay.
Yeah, except macro. But some of the schools from, Mount Scopus, Bialik, they're from Jewish background, private schools as well.
Okay.
Any questions from this page, everyone? If not, I'm going to move on. I think how to select the schools, VC results is only one option for categorize or give you some brief ideas about how did the school go. But I think as well as your first experience to accessing to the campus, discuss with their, head of curriculum or maybe head of academics or maybe the principal or some staff or some of the teachers will be another idea to understand whether or not I think the school is my best option, isn't it? So I think school tour is very important for us, especially at the beginning of this year. Term 1, we do have lots of school tours from different private schools.
Right.
Yeah.
It's term 1.
Term 1, basically term 1 or term 2 at the beginning of
So
term
we have
2.
to book the appointments.
Yeah, you can search online and book appointments with the private schools. That will be one of the options. You can understand the school culture, school environment, and school program. Then, from my own experience, when I got a baby, when I was pregnant, I booked every schools, especially private schools, around my side. I visited them one by one to understand what is their specialized, what they're good at. Yeah. Experience. So if you are willing to do that, I think it's quite important for you. Yeah, I think if you can bring your child with you together to observe the schools, it may give them some of the big picture about the school is really my dream school. I really want to get into through working hard. It's kind of inspiring their motivation as well. Yeah, let them to be part of the decision maker. Great. All right. Sometimes your friends may give you some experience or exposure a little bit about the school, but I think yes or no depends on yourself, because your friend's perspective sometimes could be just from his or from her opinion. I'd rather you can just access to the schools and discuss with their staffs together to give you a big picture about the school, instead of my friend said that or the other friend said same thing. It could be have some bias statistically. Yeah, cool. Then we're back to which year levels I may be able to apply to get into the private school. I mean, it could be for private school scholarship, or sometimes could be just, get into the school, but paying full fee. All right. So year 5 for most of the schools, they are the big intake year. Year 7, definitely they are big intake year. Year 9, yes. Some of school, they offer year 10, year 11 entry as well, especially girls schools. Give you example, as a backup. For example, for lots of boys schools, from the beginning of prep, they only got 1 or 2 classes. But when the students come into year 4, they were added 1 extra class. When they come into year 5, they will start recruiting some of the scholarship receivers. Now from year 7, compared to the junior level, they may have only 3 classes for each year level. From year 7 onwards, they will have at least 9 classes. So they extended a lot, which means we may have lots of opportunities to get into. Yeah. Now for year 9, they were added into 2 or 3 more extra classes as well.
Right. So one question. So as you mentioned that normally, sometimes people do make the kids, join the private school. Before even the scholarship.
That's right.
So let's say if they apply for the scholarship first for the year 7, let's say they couldn't get it. Right?
Yeah.
Then they have another opportunity of applying in the year 9 as well.
Yes, they do. Now the school will ask you, are you going to be still applying for year 5? Every year they will keep tracking you.
Okay.
Yeah. Then will you be able, do you want to defer into year 7 entry? They will communicate with you. But I encourage our parents, if you apply for paying full fee to get into school, if you haven't heard school for such a long time, for example, 1 semester, you haven't heard anything from school, maybe you try to get email, or maybe call them, or maybe send email or visit in the school to discuss with their administration staff. Give them some pressure that, not pressure, maybe good pressure. Okay, I'm still waiting for. Just refresh their idea about, okay, this student is still waiting for the position at this moment. So that will be helpful. Yeah, that will be helpful. We will.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, if you go back on that slide.
Sure.
Year 7.
Yes.
I can see the public school seal.
Yes,
right?
yes, that's right.
So how the seal? I don't know if I'm talking early. So is seal is little different
from the other program.
Yes. So what is the difference between SEAL and other courses?
Sure. The SEAL program's definition is about extension learning program from Department of Victoria. So the basically idea is about from year 7 to year 10, they're supposed to be 4 years of learning. But when the students get into SEAL program, they are going to squeeze those students into 3 years. So which means those students will spend 3 years to finish the 4 years learning.
Oh, right.
Technically, when you come into year 7 with SEAL program, the students are not learning year 7 foundation. They will skip year 7, but learning year 8 straight away.
So that is still foundation would be there, but they will be going a little advanced. So
yeah,
one step ahead.
Exactly. So when they come into year 10, a little bit further, stretch a little bit further, sorry. We see results for each of individual subjects. Maximum, they can save it for 2 years. So the earliest year you can finish one subject will be year 10.
Right. So now if year 7 kid, right? Let's say if we have put a kid in the private school or private school.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we think might be our financial condition has changed.
Yeah.
And we think we want to keep our kid in the public school.
Yes.
So will we still have the opportunity of the SEAL program?
Oh, that depends on individual schools. Normally year 7 will be big intake. So the students will need to write the examination when they come into year 6.
Okay.
That will be a big selection. But for lots of schools, because our selective high school, which year level they will start? Selective high school.
Correct.
Year 9, they are going to selective, they do have a selective high school entry. So year 9 entry, which means maybe your school's top level students are going to be selected by selective high schools.
Yeah.
So year 9, we may not have enough SEAL program students. So by then, they will select another a little bit portion students from the normal class to get into SEAL program.
So it's basically only year 6 is the opportunity of getting into a SEAL program. After year 7, there is no other option. After year 6, there is no other opportunity.
Year 8 could be. I heard lots of, public school or some of the Catholic school, they do have this kind of options.
Catholic school is like, it's a very, again, a selection based, right? Like
Yeah.
Christianity is there, then only the selections will be there. And again, the second question is, SEAL specific schools, how many are there in Melbourne, and specifically on these areas?
Most of the public school program. Most of the public schools, they do have the
SEAL program.
Yeah, exactly. That's right.
So when we say SEAL, whether it's enrichment or the extension, these are the
True.
definitions.
Exactly. Okay, let's move on. I'll just give you a private school tour first. The first page is from Scotch College. Second page is from Melbourne Grammar. So these are all the top level of the private schools for boys, those two. The third one, I think our parents are quite familiar with, is Halliburton. Next one, MLC, is the largest girls' schools. All right, their size is competitive with Scotch College or Melbourne Grammar. So the other girls' schools, normally maximum year levels, they do have 5 or 6 maximum for each of the year levels, but MLC, they do have 9 classes for each year level or 11 classes. So they are the largest girls' school. So they may have lots of opportunities. Next page is from PLC. Then who can guess which school it is from? It seems like rural suburbs. Ballarat. Good guessing. This is from Lauriston. Lauriston, they do have a very special program. When girls come into year 9, they are going to locate girls into the Mount Holcroft for whole year. So they are going to settling down there. They're going to do lots of activities, including horse riding, snow ski, then including hiking and swimming and meditation, lots of. So this year, because when they come into year 9, lots of schools have different programs to exhausting our teenagers. MLC, they do have Marshall Made for the whole term. PLC, they do have a whole term program, so not whole term now, but they do have some specific program. Now, boys' schools, they do have exchange program with different countries. These are the very specialized. If you're willing your girls to be quite independent and say goodbye to you in year 9, do not want to be disturbed, send them to Lauriston. But I know that Holcroft is quite expensive, almost double the tuition fee.
Oh,
exactly.
It's like double the private.
Exactly. When they come into year 9, because they have to stay there, they have to get all of the teachers to support them around there. It's quite expensive. Let's have a look at our public schools. The first one is very well known from Melbourne High School. The building looks very fancy and quite diligent, old-fashioned castles just located into, South Yarra suburbs. Then the other one is from our, best girls' schools, Mac Robinson. Next two is, one is from Northall High School, the other one is from Susanna Corey High Schools. They're all in the new buildings, looks pretty fancy. The classroom design is fabulous as well. In Susanna Corey, have a look at our classroom. It's quite traditional. So every classroom has to be separated or independent from the others. But in Susanna Corey, the teaching building actually just like a flowers. So it's kind of as a university facilities. So flower, which means they have 3 corners be guarded by the wall. Only one corner just face to the inner side. It's like they do have a facility inside of the whole corner. Then the other classrooms all face into this corner.
It's like an auditorium.
Exactly, that's right. So technically, the classroom teaching could be influence each other from each of the individual classroom, but I think their philosophy is more about we are open-minded for communication and sharing information anytime. This is their philosophy. All right, let's come into question 2. I think most parents is quite engaging and want to understand further about examination structures, because every time when we receive that, the parents call that one of the most important questions parents will ask, are you guys preparing ACE style, or are you guys preparing for EduTest, or are you preparing for AAS? As well as, let me try to introduce a little bit, different structures for each of the individual test style. For the ACE style, this is one of the biggest question structures. They will have 4 different components. Test 1 is written expression. It's normally narrative writing. So students are going to spend 25 minutes and finish one piece of writing. Test 2 is about humanities. So what is humanities? Humanities is more challenging than comprehension questions, because they do have some of the interpretation as well as inference or analysis skills involved in. So when you look at in detail about humanities, most of the time you couldn't find the answer straight away from the passage you have read, but you have to analyze and predict based on what you have read, then give the reasonable answers to select. Test 3 is about mathematics. Test 4 is another piece of writing. So for ACE, normally they mention about extended response, but most of the time they do one piece of narrative writing, then one piece of persuasive writing. From our side, that we have been practiced a lot with different style of writing and question types. So students, since 25 minutes of writing piece is quite manageable. They even have time to, check back the spellings or grammars. For adults, even for me, I think 25 minutes is not enough for me. If we haven't practiced, we couldn't compete with our own students. Now, what other schools they are applying for ACE style? First of all, Bowen High School, their SEAL programs, they only use ACE style instead of the other questions. Now, Hunting Tower, which is close to our Cheston campus, Covington Grammar, which is close to our Glen Huntley campus, Mentone Grammar, MLC, PLC, Xavier. So our top levels of the girls' schools, they're applying with ACE program. Let's have a look at the other one, which is, I think, is the most popular one, EduTest. EduTest, if you have a look at this diagram, it's quite complicated because the component is quite much. They do have 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally for year 9 entry, they will have 2 pieces of writing, but for year 7 entry, only creative writing. Let's try to get rid of persuasive writing. But if you're targeting for year 9 entry or year 10 entry with scholarship, then persuasive writing will need to be practiced as well. This one is quite tough. 30 minutes, you are going to finish 50 or 60 questions, including shading the answer sheet. So time is pretty rushed. How to balance your accuracy as well as you have to shade in the answer sheet. So practice is quite essential for our students to manage. Let's have a look at what are the schools they're using EduTest system. So Halliburton is always 1.5 years early to setting up the scholarship test. For example, if we're targeting for year 7 entry, then in July, when the students come into year 5, you are going to write the examination, be ready for year 7 entry. So they always be 1.5 years ahead than year 7 entry. But the other schools, most of the other schools, they are writing examination when the students come into year 6 in February, or at the beginning of the February or the whole February. Then the other schools who are applying for EduTest, including Caulfield Grammar, our top level of co-ed school, Brighton Grammar, boys school, Campbell Girls, Fentona, Fairbank, Kingswood, Laurel, Strathcona, etc. Be very aware of one idea is if edu test examination will happen in semester 1, all right, then they will share the examination results within the edu test schools. So which means, for example, Brighton Grammar this year have the examination on 3rd of February, Caulfield Grammar 10th of February. So the students apply for both online, then pay the application fee for both Brighton Grammar and Caulfield Grammar. Then the edu test will locate you to write the examination in Brighton Grammar. Only once. Then Brighton Grammar will share the result through the edu test to Caulfield Grammar.
Oh, so it's like a centralized.
Exactly. So which means efficiency.
Right. So how with that subject, how they are doing.
Yeah, if you have done good job, the results will spread into the other schools. If you didn't do well, the same skills, they are going to spread into the other schools as well. So it will have some tricky decision later on. Yeah. So this is the edu test system. Let's have a look at the last one.
So one question.
Yeah.
So if we go back, so we can apply for more than one school, right?
Exactly.
And all the exams, will it fall on the same day or will it fall on the different days? Different schools.
Lots of schools, boys' schools, they try to start on the same day. For example, this year on 3rd of February, examination happened in Brighton Grammar, happened in Melbourne Grammar, happened in Canberra Grammar.
Not same time, right?
Same time.
Okay.
Exactly same time, all in the morning. So you can't rush to everyone. You have to have your selection first.
Right. The reason why I'm saying this, so if when we are opting for schools, right? Let's say we are saying 2 schools we want to go.
Yeah.
That's again a paid application which you are going to submit.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
Now, when we are doing it, we don't know yet the dates are going to fall on the same day. We are assuming different dates are there, different timings will be there, and we will apply for those exams.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
But that will come based on the schedule, how it comes on the last minute in the first semester, whether it's.
Oh, don't worry, because every year, end of November, start from beginning of the November, we'll start collecting all of the test date for the following year. So before you make your decision which school you are going to apply, we're going to talk to you. Based on every student's strengths and weakness, we will give you a guidance how to apply. We are going to talk to family by family, summarize students' advantages and disadvantages to give you some advice on which school or which style of the test he's good at or she's good at. Now, which school we're going to apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we are applying now for a year 7 for 26th year, so are we going to have that decision by end of this year, right?
End of this year, exactly. When most of the schools' examination day opened, then we are going to discuss with you one by one. Yeah, this is a procedure. So to try to avoid, so our parents maybe sometimes we couldn't understand students quite thoroughly. So we may need to summarize all of the progress, then compare a little bit. Then we can have a very good conversation eventually before you make any important decision. Yes. Now we're coming to the last one is AAS. So AAS actually at the beginning is only be applied by lots of girls' schools or some girls' schools, I have to say. Corowa is the first one, then Lauriston. Melbourne Grammar started using AAS system last year, but Scotch College and Canberra Grammar started applying the AAS program since this year onward. So if we have a look at the AAS program from this year onward, seems our top level of the boys' grammars, they try to switch their selections from ASA or edu test into AAS. So AAS compared to the other two, if we have a look at in detail about the test structures, they do have one piece of writing. It could be either narrative or argument. Then one test is reading comprehension, which has been covered by both of the previous two examinations. Now, mathematics and reasoning have been covered by previous two. Abstract reasoning and problem solving. It requires students to finish in 40 to 45 minutes, but with 70 questions. Time is very rushed. You have to finish everything that you do, including lots of general knowledge, lots of logic thinking skills. Then lots of vocabulary is included as well. So AAS is kind of combination with EduTest and ACER. I think that could be one of the reasons that our top level of the boys' school start using AAS program to select their own students. Great, let's move on into next page about new policy. So test style started change from now and then, especially AAS becoming popular and popular. So which remind us our logic thinking skills and general knowledge wanting to be built up instead of only reading comprehension and mathematics. That will be covered in our accelerated learning classes very well, because we do have abstract reasoning class and we do have the class test to help them to build up time management skills. Then the SEAL program started change 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I forgot exactly. But previously the SEAL program, for example, if I'm going to targeting for Ashwood High School, their extension program. Previous years, if the students outside of Ashwood High School school zone, they still can write and apply for writing the examination. But from last year and this year onward, the school zone is very, very strict, especially for some very popular high schools, McKinnon, Box High School, Bowen High School. So our parents need to prepare ahead, especially even you live inside of school zone, but how long about your rental lease and how many years you have been settling here, it will be another consideration. So after you have been finalized that my students is going to your school, for example, Ashwood High School, then they will invite you, they will send an email to invite you to write the examinations to select the students to get into SEAL program. So most of the schools, the examination date will be in August. So the sequence has been changed. You have to make sure that students will be in this school zone, then accept the offer, for example, from Glen Ara College for year 7. So definitely he or she is going to be in this school. Then they will send an invitation for inviting you to get into SEAL program. So 2 steps. After that, okay, so how to get into the scholarship with, into the private schools? On top of, on top of the written examination, we do have very important session named interview. So interview session is very, very essential for every parent and every student to prepare, because they interview parents as well. So if our parents or students received any call from private schools recently, if you have done any written examination with private school, then you receive a call, but you missed that, please call them back. Please call them back. Or otherwise, maybe you may miss the interview opportunity. And as well as maybe check your junk mail. So when you apply for the school, you normally need to register with an email. But recently, sometimes the email will go to the junk mail. It happened once or twice with our student. So maybe refresh your junk mail to check whether you have received any email from the school. Then if you received a call or if you received interview invitation from the school, from the private school, please contact us as soon as possible. So I'm going to help you to prepare individual training. So it has to be one-on-one training, because every student's highlighted points are totally different. So it can't be in group, it has to be one-on-one. Okay, back to the ground. What kind of students can receive the scholarship? If we have a look at compare with, the This one, test results from the first picture and test result from the second picture. All right, this is from ASA result we're sharing. The first graph is humanities. The second graph is mathematics. Third graph is written expression. Then last one is total. So you have to be good at everything. If any subject you have dragged it down, you'll drag your results down, then you may lose this opportunity. So basically speaking, not only good at mathematics or not only good at English, you have to be reasonably good in overall places. Then you will receive the offer or interview offer from private schools. This result is from our previous students who got into Campbell Grammar with very high percentage of scholarship, 2/3. Then this is his results. In EduTest, we test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different subjects. Then even it's symbolized as top 11 percentage is superior, but from school's result, they may have specific percentage of which ranking you are located to. Because I've compared with 2 students, even the report is exactly the same, but only the students got into Campbell Grammar. The other students just has been declined. So which means his results must be super, super top. The range we can see from here is just a range, but from school's perspective, they will need to know exactly how high he will be. So we have to just try to accelerate our students as much as we can. Who can win a scholarship? Students do well in all rounder. Okay, levels are up to all of the entry levels. Then resilient. This word is very, very popular recently, resilience. Because when our year 5 students move into the scholarship classes, even they are the top levels, sometimes they could be the top levels of year 5 students. When they firstly move into scholarship, they will feel very struggling because time is quite limited, isn't it? 30 minutes, I'm going to finish 50 questions, but at the beginning, we're going to give them 30 or 40 questions, half of the test paper to do. But still, they have to try their best to move fast, as well as they have to learning ahead, always build up resilience. They have feel that, okay, I'm totally failed into this examination. But later on, after 1 or 2 days, they have to bounce back to say, okay, I'll have to review my mistakes. I have to figure out what other concept I'm still missing. I may need to take some extra time to learn by myself, or work it out with my parents, or work it out with my student helper. So that's why for the scholarship preparation class, we do have our own special helping class, as well as concept learning class. Yeah, we want to hold their hands, parents, we want to hold their hands, try to lift them up together. Who can win a scholarship? Writing. Okay. This is all my personal experience from year by year's interview training from our students. If we have looked at last year's scholarship result, this is our last year's scholarship receivers feedback. So Melbourne Grammar 80%, this boy is the highest percentage receiver. Okay, when he accessed into Melbourne Grammar, eventually at the end of the conversation, the principal gave him some clues because parents asked about the percentage. So the principal gave them the idea, I'm going to grant it you with 80%, which is the maximum scholarship we can offer this year. It's because of your writing. It's magnificent. Because of your writing. So let's back to this conversation. Caulfield Grammar 90%. We have been pushed these students for such a long time to lift up his writing skills from a long way. That's why he has been staying in our, not only for SST6 scholarship preparation class, but he has been staying with us for classic reading and writing class for last 2 years. So we do have a course named Classic Reading and Writing, really building up their writing skills gradually. Eventually, he received 90% from, this is top one. Because the family is not from low-income families, so the school normally won't offer 100%, but 90%, this is the highest. So based on their experience from different top level of the private schools, writing is the most important consideration the school are looking for. The writing subjects, I have to really highlight this component is because we do have lots of students who are good at reading, who enjoy reading the books a lot. But when you come in to have a look at in detail about the writing or essay writings, you cannot see their writing skills are in top levels. So writing is kind of different skills the students want you to build it up because the skills they have to produce by themselves. But multiple choice questions, they will just need to select. So which means the selections, you don't need to think about or produce what kind of short answers you are going to write. I mean, if the examination style will be short answers, it will be challenge. But when they come into short answers, it will be writing. So very difficult for the younger students, especially from primary level students, to build up skills by themselves. So we will really need some experienced teachers to find a method, squeeze their ideas out, squeeze their sophisticated vocabulary out into the writing page. This is my own experience because my boy, who is currently year 8 from a private schools, when he is preparing for scholarship, actually he reads a lot. When he was year 6, he has finished reading all of the Harry Potter is for year 3, he finished reading. Now, when he started from year 6, he finished reading all of the, Game of Thrones. Yeah, he really enjoyed that whole series of books. He keep reading and reading and reading. But when he's coming to the writing class, writing page with scholarship, he can only summarize as one sentence. It's very general introduction, one sentence, or one paragraph, one sentence. So we will need elaborate a little bit further, use more descriptive skills or maybe comparative skills to conduct your own writing piece from a thorough thinking. It's really taken 1 year to build it up. So eventually he got into a very top level boys schools. Even he declined the offer, he didn't accept that. He still stayed in the current school. He didn't go into another school. But I think this kind of prove that we will need someone who's experienced teacher to help them to, produce by themselves, get some ideas out from their sophisticated brain out. It's kind of mad side, isn't it? Sounds crazy, but it's quite practical. All right, writing is very important. Let me show you some, I'll compare some of the writing piece if I will have time in the future. All right, this year's result. To now, because I'm still preparing some of students for the private school scholarship interview. To now this year, we got Sacré-Cœur, we got Berwick Grammar, we got Corowa, we got Haileybury, Peninsula, Sheffield, Melbourne Grammar, Coffee Grammar, Camberwell Grammar. This one is really highlighted. I was shocked by today, by this outstanding information. I couldn't tell you exactly now because the confidential agreement in between parents and the school, but I can just show the others with you and share the others with you. And the other students got Camberwell Grammar today as well. Before the seminar, I received a call from our parents, who is current Camberwell Grammar boy, got into their own schools with scholarship. So which means if you are strong enough, if you are good enough, the school will keep you in. They don't want to lose you. They don't want to send you to the other schools. as a competitor in the future. They really want to keep you in. All right, back to our program. We do have the trial test class, preparing students ready for the scholarship test. Then we do have our very special class for classic reading and writing class, which is very popular for students. If they're preparing for scholarship or not for scholarship, they can get into this one. But it's for current our year 5, year 6, or year 7, or year 8 students to preparing for the writing skills. Now, because the scholarship, especially for year 7 entry or year 9 entry, are quite tough and challenging for them, not only for them, I think for our families. So we will support you as much as we can. We do have free math concept class, free helping class to help them, because these students, tutor, they are coming with us. They were with us to get into selective high school or private school with high percentage scholarships. They really understand their standards and selections. They know how do they prepare when they were there. So they will be able to help our younger students prepare everything. So these are very, valuable experience from our previous students. All right, a report I can skip. We can discuss that later. Then individual support is very important. So parents, if we do have some students, you are really want him or want her to preparing for scholarship to get into private schools, please give her or give him enough attention this year. All right, I know every family, we may have 2 or 3 kids, or maybe even more. But if this year you do have a young girl or young boy who are preparing for scholarship, then try to cut it off some of the irrelevant program. Then give her or give him enough attention. Maybe your younger ones just give you to your husband or to your wife. You have to select one parent really want to sitting down with her or with him. Now work it out with some of the challenging questions and concepts with them together. That's quite essential. So this is not only the student's own journey. It will be our family's journey together. We have to work it out together. Any progress you're concerned, please let us know. We'll be able to help you, to support you. Parenting support. Okay. Now, some parents mentioned about, I don't understand English very well. Maybe I don't understand math very well. But at least we can do what we can do at this moment. We can read with my child together. I can review or maybe try to check his or her homework together, whether he or she finished today's homework. We do have a homework notice we can check, or we can communicate with our administration staff because we keep following students' progress. So we can communicate at least. So do not get rid of our support. Do not just leave our child by their own. They are too young to work independently in this journey. These are the scholarship results from previous years. It's heaps and heaps. So if you visited our campus on site, you will see lots of scholarship receivers and results from our side. I'll just quickly show. Hopefully we'll build it up the magnificent or outstanding results in 2024, especially next year as well.